attitude towards research, so that their future endeavor in research will leave positive impacts to themselves, the institutions, the academia, and the society. To start our auspicious event today, let us listen from the beloved Dean of KIRKHS, okay, which is before this I only known as IKRK, but now KIKRKHS. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman to welcome all of us today. So please welcome Professor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, my brother Mizan from Saudi Arabia. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. Amin. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Profesor Datuk Dr. Nordin Kardi, the Vice Chancellor of Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah, Perak. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Profesor Datuk Dzulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector of the International Islamic University Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Wan Sabri Wan Yusof, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah. Deputy Deans, Deputy Director, Heads of Departments, Head of Research, Heads of International and Global Networking, Professors, Associate Professors, academic members from both universities and wherever you are, and also participants, postgraduate students of this seminar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to all of you. I would like to, on behalf of the International Islamic University Malaysia, especially the Kuliah of Islamic Review Knowledge and Human Sciences, to record our utmost appreciation to Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Profesor Datuk Dr. Nordin Kardi for the willingness, for your willingness of USAS to work with us, to join force with us in organizing this important academic gathering. Alhamdulillah, this is one of the outcomes that we agreed to organize together with USAS after our series of meetings with delegates from USAS. Alhamdulillah, since many years ago, the university, especially the Kuliah, have been engaging many outside organizations, including universities like USAS, for us to work together in all our academic activities, in teaching and learning, in research, in publication, and also in community services. Right? So we are now advancing our knowledge dissemination as well. Not only generation of knowledge, but also dissemination of knowledge, so that the knowledge that we gather, knowledge that we acquire, okay, including the knowledge that we acquire together or generate together with our postgraduate students, are of benefit, of impact, of genuine impact to our community. Alhamdulillah, today we have realized this collaboration, okay, by engaging not only academics but also our postgraduate students. And congratulations to all participants, okay, for having your paper being accepted in this conference or in this seminar. Okay, indeed, this is a good training ground, okay, for you to exchange your thought, to listen to feedback from academics, so that you can become an independent, able researcher one day. And inshallah, your research, our research, will not only be shared in the library or be published in journals or books, but be read by policymakers, by practitioners, so that we can also apply Islamic review knowledge or Islamic studies principles, as well as human sciences principles, to change, to develop, or to improve our community. So once again, I would like to thank the two organizations, and even 3 and 4 now, okay, with the involvement of the Asian Islamic University Association. Okay, we hope that we can continue working together for the benefit of our community who come to study from us, and also the community who are out there who can benefit from our work in the university. So congratulations to committee members of this conference, right, in USAS and in UIA. Right, inshallah, this is a good colloquium for all parties, right, and look forward to working together with USAS, with all universities who have participated in this colloquium, inshallah. Over to you, Dr. Nizan. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman, for your warm welcoming speech. And at least we knew that this is the project between IIUM and also USAS as well as AIUA. And I still remember back in 2015, I was with Tan Sri Dr. Nordin Kardi and also Deputy Rector of IIUM that time. We were talking about establishing one platform for Asian at the Asian level of Islamic studies. And Alhamdulillah, finally it was in Riau, which is Pekanbaru. We successfully established what we call AIUA, Asian Islamic University Association. And Alhamdulillah, I think there are lots of activities as well been implemented through the AIUA, and IIUM and also USAS actually is like a key person, a backbone of this association. And we do hope, which is from this colloquium, there will be lots of outcomes, and as the theme will be on the impactful research, which is can be laid down especially to the society. So we don't want only outcomes to be patented or to be at the impact journal only, but we want it to be impactful to the society as well. Okay, Prof. Shukran, Dr. Shukran, thank you again for your warm welcome speech. Ladies and gentlemen, to stimulate our discourse on research in this colloquium, let us listen to the opening remarks from the most important persons at IIUM and USAS. With that, I would like to invite the yang berbahagia Tan Sri Professor Datuk Dr. Nordin Kardi, the Vice Chancellor of University of Sultan Azlan Shah, Kuala Kangsar, Perak, to deliver his welcoming speech. Please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be part of this auspicious colloquium or event. Thank you to the organizers, USAS, IIUM, and AIUA for extending this invitation for me to get involved in this session. As the Permanent Secretariat of ASEAN Islamic University Association, or AIUA, which USAS is also the founding member and currently serving as the Secretary General, it is gratifying to see the collaboration between USAS, IIUM, and IUA to organize this event. AIUA is an association that aims to assist member institutions to strengthen themselves through mutual cooperation and to achieve international distinction in education, research, and public service. It serves as a hub of information, provides a medium for the discussion of academic development and university development in general, assists members, institutions in the recruitment and placement of faculty and staff, opens opportunities for academic staff and students exchange, offers consultancy services, strengthens the relationship with regional and international bodies, and keeps member institutions informed about development in the region. all the aforementioned visions are embodied and realized today with this colloquium. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the year 2020 onwards had been unprecedented, where the world globally has been inundated by the pandemic and been put to a halt. All sectors are affected, none are spared, the academic world included. The researchers and budding researchers in tertiary institutions, the change of dynamics and norms following the adaptation of life in the era of pandemic could be a double-edged sword. The year 2020 had seen the world dealing with a crisis that was beyond our control, and the only solution is nothing but to adopt and adapt to the new normal. The restrictions and limitations that came with pandemic had seen to the evolvement of things. For example, traditional face-to-face interaction held as a physical event where brilliant minds convene and exchange ideas, the inevitable has seen to exchange where virtual meetings and webinars have become the new replacement. Where does that future hold for research sustainability in the wake of pandemic? While the pandemic closed many doors, it also opened many more. Despite the significant disruptions by lockdowns and communication channels, social and physical isolation, cancellation of meetings and long-planned events, delays in delivery of research projects, the global crisis has seen to the rapid rise of technology and innovations to overcome these obstacles. The most notable breakthrough research that the pandemic had witnessed is easily the development of vaccines that was achieved in record time. On principle, the process of earning a postgraduate degree and act scientifically around problems and issues, while in bringing the gaps in the respective fields of discipline. Despite the pandemic being the biggest global disruptor of modern time, researchers by nature have to be quick on their feet to adopt and adapt to the situation in sustaining the quest for findings and outcomes. Last year, for 3 days in a row, I participated and gave my opinion on the presentation of the PhD thesis proposal for Doctor of Philosophy candidates of Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah. All 6 candidates were from Indonesia and Uganda, who went back to their respective home countries following the movement control order. Initially scheduled as a physical session, the circumstances has led for the session to be conducted online. A novelty then, but regular fixture now or today. A key foundation to research process during the presentation of the thesis proposal, the candidate was assessed on various aspects, including whether the candidate understands the basic on how to seek truth through a scientific process, of whether the research will later confirm the work of previous studies or rejecting that was said to be true by previous researchers, or will the proposed research explore new truths that have not been explored by previous studies. On average, I found candidates are quick to choose a research title without first mastering the knowledge in the discipline used to give treatment to the PhD research work, which could be detrimental to a research sustainability, pandemic or no pandemic. As a guide, when I was pursuing my master's degree in the US, the requirement to pass my master's was only 33 credit hours. But I took 64 credits before I graduated, 6 months or almost a year later than my cohort group, whereas others with such an amount of credit can already get 2 master's degree. However, my interests were different. I was not in the pursuit of the certificates, but the acquisition of the discipline fundamentals. After the candidate goes through the coursework of a minimum of 90 credits, the candidate will be tested in a comprehensive examination. Passing a comprehensive examination ensures a candidate to be recognized as having mastered the field or discipline in which he or she is engaged or specializing in. Some candidates have had to take a thorough exam or comprehensive examination for several times. Only after passing a thorough examination, then a PhD candidate is allowed to start work to produce a dissertation. The title of the dissertation is built by the candidate with the supervisory committee after the students have gone through the process of mastering the field, subfield, and finally a dimension in the subfield. That is the title of his or her dissertation. The dissertation is only a part of the requirement or partial requirement for the title of doctor upon the completion of the program. Such is the process that candidates need to go through before choosing a title for a scientific paper or writing a paper for the proposal presentation stage. As for the tradition in the United Kingdom, they accept candidates on the basis of submitted PhD research proposal that is evaluated by the prospective supervisor or a committee or rather faculty in the department. Universities in the UK consider and recognize a candidate who is doing a PhD as a senior partner or senior colleague to academics in the faculty. Therefore, the assumption is that the candidate has equipped himself with extensive knowledge in the discipline he has or planning to venture into. The candidate is assumed to have spent years reading and discussing with colleagues of the same discipline. During the period, he had scientific questions in his mind that had not been satisfactorily answered through his reading, nor through the opinions of fellow scholars of the same disciplines. He has already very clear with the question and had no choice but to choose the third path, which is to do a process of scientific research to prove his hypothesis. Remember, the process of answering the first question of scientific curiosity is by reading the work of previous people, or rather previous scholars, previous researchers. For the latter, it requires candidates to debate, discuss, engage in forums, seminar, colloquium, and seek advice from colleagues in the same field. A candidate who wants to do a PhD is a candidate who has been immersed with knowledge activities for a long time, but with big and scientific questions remaining unanswered and waiting to be explored and verified. As a senior scholar, an academic can simply do his research work alone and then present it for critique by peers in the field after obtaining research findings. This is why in the UK tradition, there are rules in obtaining a PhD degree or scientific work that has been completed and then evaluated by a number of evaluators appointed by the university. However, many choose the journey of seeking the new permission to be confirmed by one or more senior colleagues from the very beginning of setting their proposal. The senior friend is dubbed the supervisor. There is a difference of tradition for committees in the United States to the tradition of individual supervisors in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, after a PhD candidate gets a supervisor, usually the supervisor will challenge the candidate to rethink whether scientific curiosity is really valid and required research or whether it is researchable. It does not matter whether it is an empirical, laboratory, or theoretical research. For that reason, a supervisor who truly knows his or her role will continue to challenge his or her protege who may be anxious with unanswered questions. The first way a supervisor does is to ask the candidate to read and read and read as long as there is a previous person's work in the field and present it to the supervisor. If the supervisor is a generous person, I don't use the term good supervisor, the supervisor will give and recommend the candidate to read the reading list provided by the supervisor and returned to him or her with comments. This aims to train candidates to do critical and extensive reading, also known as critical review of related literature. It is not just a review, it is a critical review of related literature. Consecutively, the candidate will make a summary of each work on this work and then into a chapter called a review of previous work, or as I said earlier on, critical review of related literature. It is not just a narration of literature, but rather that the accumulative literature that he has accumulated must be critically analyzed by the candidate. This is where the difference in the process of doing research work in the US and in the UK. In the US, United States, coursework or subjects help candidates identify works and the fields and subfields assigned by the lecturer compared to the UK system, which is heavy towards private work or independent study, although there are also some provision of independent study in the US system. This is so that the candidate really knows the field comprehensively and knows about the subfield versus the wider field. From there, then the candidate chooses what he wants to study from the subfield and then makes it the title of his research thesis. After the process is completed, then the supervisor confirms that the scientific curiosity is genuine and will only be answered by the research process, or always call it warrants a research and reasonable. The agreement of the respective parties, the PhD candidate and the supervisor, will be tested in a knowledge council called the Thesis Proposal Defense Session, which will be attended by as many insiders and outsiders who are interested in criticizing, spotting, suggesting improvement, and some new candidates, PhD candidates, may also want to learn from the presenter of how to go about preparing a research proposal. The purpose is so that there is no longer a reasonable doubt that the candidate's question does indeed need an answer through research. If it can be answered through other means, why must one engage in doing research? This is the justification of why research is necessary. Not answered through reading and not even answered by experts in the field scientifically. If there is an answer, it is only at the level of opinion that is not supported by first-class evidence. The method of research is also selected from the appropriate means to answer the question. This is where the term qualitative research, quantitative triangulation of both laboratory testing or various other methods usually appear. Many parties are involved in the process of completing a PhD in the US, such as lecturers, committees, comprehensive evaluators, and so on. Therefore, only anyone can offer themselves as a candidate. Confirmation to be a candidate is usually confirmed after a year of being in a program called nomination. In the UK, a candidate is considered to have held a high position in his or her field. That is why there are times someone who already has a master's degree applying to be a PhD candidate is placed first in the position of a Master of Philosophy. Once the supervisor is satisfied that this candidate is a good candidate for a PhD venture, then the candidate is considered a PhD candidate. The system in the UK also provides an opportunity for outstanding bachelor students who have earned a first-class degree or who have long experience in the field to become PhD candidates without a master's degree. The Malaysian system is sometimes mixture of tradition in the US and tradition in the UK due to the background of the administrators, the authorities, and also lecturers whose background they have gone through US or UK higher education system. This influenced the tradition of universities in Malaysia in the process and approach of PhD degree work. A strong foundation in the understanding of these fundamentals and process would be crucial in ensuring the sustainability of research come hell or high water. Addressing the issue of research sustainability, a research with a good and strong foundation from the start is inevitably and undoubtedly sustainable, regardless in the midst of a pandemic or non-pandemic. However, this is only true if the researcher is one that is quick on their feet to adapt and adopt interventions should hindrance and obstacle be in their way. Whatever the goal, it must be the same. That is to answer the scientific curiosity that is not answered by building the existing body of knowledge that has been recorded and not even answered by colleagues in the same field orally through the medium of knowledge such as seminars, colloquium, workshop, and so on. There is a kind of dissatisfaction within a scholar to find an answer that is not yet answered by other means. On that note, I bid everybody a good and fruitful colloquium and getting the best out of the discourse. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. I would like to thank you very much to Tan Sri Professor Dato. Okay, all right. So I would like to thank you very much to Tan Sri Professor Dato Nordin Kardi for your enlightening speech. Yet Dato Tan Sri also the Secretary General of AIUA. So just now Tan Sri gave very details, the process of doing so-called postgraduate study, right? In UK experience and US experience as well, right? And also Tan Sri covered the whole spectrum, especially for this pandemic era, and a challenge for postgraduate students as well. But I believe with those kind of tips and also advice is going to be, as said by Tan Sri just now, fruitful for this colloquium, inshallah. So now we move to the next welcoming remark from the Rector of International Islamic University Malaysia, which is Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Professor Emeritus Datuk Dzulkifli Abdul Razak. Please welcome Tan Sri Dato.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu syafil anbiya mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Greeting of peace to everybody, brothers and sisters, fellow students, particularly the international students who are attending this colloquium, the International Postgraduate Colloquium and Research Poster Competition. Indeed, I'm very happy and delighted that we are able to meet one another on this platform, and praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving this opportunity to come together and understand what is the role of postgraduate students and also the university in trying to promote research. All together, we will work as a team. I am informed that this is a program between the Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge, Human Sciences, the University of Sultan Azlan Shah, and also the counterpart from ASEAN Islamic University. I want to congratulate all of you for coming together, for having a program that will make us an institution that could collaborate with one another as far as research is concerned. Research is no longer an activity of individuals or particular institutions. We need to work together collaboratively, because increasingly the issues and also the problem that we are facing are very intricate, are very complex, and therefore we need to work together. So I would like to congratulate the Kuliah and also the University Sultan Azlan Shah and ASEAN Islamic University for coming together, and I do hope this platform will be a platform that could sustain the collaboration together in trying to solve common problems. I'm made to understand that this is an opportunity for graduate students to present their research work at an international academic colloquium. At the same time, hopefully, to motivate you so that you can acquire and embrace the right meaning of research excellence in the light of what we call responsible research in this university. We use the word particularly responsible research because it means very, very specific thing. In other words, the research that we do are the research that will have impact on the community. And not only impact on the community, the research will also engage them right from the beginning of the research in trying to write the proposal or in trying to propose idea, so that this idea will be the one that is relevant to them, the one that they could also provide input, because at the end of the day, they will benefit or otherwise from this research. And engaging them right from the start is a kind of responsibility that we need to take as researchers, so that we don't take them for granted. Oftentimes, we do research and plan the research in our university and impose on the community as though this is something that they need. They may not need this research because it is devised away from their inputs, and therefore it could be relevant to them. We do not want to assume that we know better than the community. The community has got their own knowledge for a long time, that we need to respect those knowledge and therefore take into account in whatever research that you want to do, so that there is a true collaboration. It is not just between the three institutions now, it is the three institutions plus the community that you're working with. And this is a true collaboration that is embraced under the word responsible research. And the responsible research will also mean at the end of the day, you will discuss the results with them so that they can understand what the result is all about. If they disagree with the result, they also have the opportunity to tell you what they disagree on, and therefore for us to improve the research so that it can be more relevant to them. There is a new concept of research, no longer research just for the sake of publication and impact factor. It is also research about creating real impact on the ground so that your research becomes meaningful. From my point of view, that is more important than just impact factor that you get from all this research published in good journals, but hardly translated into reality, or sometimes hardly read because it is very specific, very elitist, and is away from the needs of society as such. So these are the new things that I hope you will discuss, and so that you can create a new culture of research within the university as a responsible Islamic university, and also universities that care for knowledge for people that is affected by this particular research. So on that note, let me thank you once again, and I do hope that this collaboration will be a fruitful one. It may be a new one, but again, there is something that all of us need to work together to make it impactful as far as the university is concerned, so that we can benefit from the knowledge gained. At the end of the day, learn also from the community as much as the community is learning from us. So let's praise Allah Ta'ala and pray for His blessings and also Hidayah, that we can together work and make these universities of ours the meaningful university for the sake of the Ummah and also for rahmatan lil alamin. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Tan Sri Professor Emeritus Dato Dzulkifli Razak, for your inspiring our graduates and young researchers on the true meaning of research and dedication for research. From your speech just now, Tan Sri Professor Emeritus, we can see at least I can find here at least three key things here. One is about the so-called collaboration and networking, and also second one, which is on responsible research, right? And Tan Sri already explained about that, and I believe all those things actually it lead to the third one, which is the most important one, and Tan Sri is always a champion for this one, which is a sustainable development education, or as so-called SDG, which is what we want is something that being impactful and get back to the society. Not only as Tan Sri just now said, it is only for the book or hardly read by us, but it is back to the society, which is knowledge transfer, inshallah. Okay, so we hope that our graduates will embrace and uphold your words of wisdoms in their journey to be successful academics and researchers in the near future. So, Alhamdulillah, we have come to an end of the opening ceremony. On behalf of the organizer, I would like to thank you, the Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Professor Emeritus Datuk Dzulkifli Razak, and the Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Professor Datuk Dr. Nordin Kardi for your opening speeches, and as well as Professor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman. I would like to take this opportunity to apologize for my shortcomings, which is 5 hours behind Malaysia time. I am in Riyadh right now. We are still in the sandstorm mood right now. Okay, for the past few days, and I think we'll be going up for the next few days. We will be living in the sandstorm situation. So I am so sorry. My apologies for shortcomings in hosting this session. I wish the organizers, the participants, and all of people here all the best, and may Allah bless our effort in this journey of knowledge. Before we end, let's be ready, because we are going to take a picture. So I think the most important one is everybody have to be in a good smile. Okay, make sure we yeah, in a good dress as well. Okay, or Tan Sri, right? So how do we know? Okay, whether it is finished or not? Okay, let me check. Can we start now? Or can I count 1, 2, 3 or what?
I will count 1, 2, 3 and
Okay.
snapshot.
So we just get ready, yeah?
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next page.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Next page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last page. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, khalas.
That's done.
So no freestyle, eh?
If you like, you should get.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe one. Why not? Okay.
Okay.
So
Sure.
there are about 80 people here. Tan Sri also here. Okay. One freestyle pose.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Next page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all.
Okay, all right. So
thank you, Dr. Mizan.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dr.
very much.
Mizan.
Oh yeah,
You
thank you.
look very handsome today.
Thank you, Dr. Mizan.
All right, thank you, Tan Sri. Thank you, everybody. So
Thank you, Dr. Mizan. Thank you.
okay, yeah. So to end this session, okay, let us together with tasbih kafarah and surah al-as. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta Inna insana. Again, thank you, Tan Sri, thank you, committee, thank you, Prof. Shukran. Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Very handsome today.
He's always handsome.
Yeah.
He is always handsome.
Tan Sri, my boss. Yeah. Thank you, my boss. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
See you. Take care.
Prof. Dr. Mizan, you are also moderating the next session, right?
Yep.
So
So we just continue.
what is your opinion? We take 5 and then we continue again, Prof. Mizan?
Okay. Yep, can.
Okay,
5, so we start at, is it 10 o'clock Malaysian time? Can?
Yes, can.
Yeah,
Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, coffee time. Okay.
Thank you very much, Tan Sri.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tan Sri.
Tan Sri. Always
Congratulations.
young, lah. Tan Sri
It's
always
great,
look
great.
young.
Thank you, Tan Sri.
Very good speeches, Tan Sri. InsyaAllah.
Thank you. Inshallah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Salam. Mana minum ni?
And inshallah, our research will not only be shared in the library or be published in journals or books, but be read by policymakers, by practitioners, so that we can also apply Islamic legal knowledge, Islamic studies principles, as well as human sciences principles to change, to develop, or to improve. So once again, I would like to thank the two organizations, level 3 and 4 now, with the involvement of the Asian Islamic University Association. We hope that we can continue working together for the benefit of our community. Community who come to study from us, and also the community who are out there can benefit from our work in the university. So congratulations to committee members of this conference, right, in USAS and in UIA. Right, inshallah, this is a good colloquium for all parties, right, and working together with USAS, with all universities who have participated in this colloquium, inshallah. Over to you, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Shukran Rahman, for your warm welcoming speech. And at least we knew that this is the project between IUM and also USAS as well as the IUM. And I still remember back in 2015, I was with Tan Sri, the Nordin Kardi, and also Deputy Rector of IUM that time. We were talking about establishing one platform for Asian, at the Asian level of Islamic studies. And Alhamdulillah, finally it was in Riau, which is Pekanbaru. We successfully
Shall we start now or are we waiting
Okay.
for anything else? Prof.
Okay,
Nizam, are you
Assalamualaikum.
listening? Okay.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can we start? Prof. Lina?
Yes, carry on, please.
Okay,
Yes.
carry on ya. Okay, Prof. Syukran ya. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So we will continue our International Postgraduate Colloquium and Research Poster Competition. Okay, the program which is International Islamic University of Malaysia, IIUM, specifically under the Kuliah of Islamic Rival Knowledge and Human Sciences, and also Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah, or so-called USAS in Kuala Kangsar, Perak, and with which is the association, the Asian Islamic University Association, which is one platform been established by USAS, by IIUM as well, which is I was the first and the former deputy president of AIUA, which is to prepare a platform for the researchers, for the postgraduate students to have this collaborative and networking in terms of research and many more. And I believe this will be a kickstart and there will be more outcomes in the near future, inshallah. And for this session, actually, this is a keynote speech, and it will be delivered by Professor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman, the Dean of KIRKHS. So Professor Shukran Abdul Rahman, he has a vast knowledge on research, more than 20 years of experience, and I would like to take this opportunity, Prof. Shukran, to congratulate on your promotion as a full professor, which is you deserve it, right? And congratulations again. Okay, and Professor Shukran will talk about relevantizing knowledge in the new Zeitgeist, all right, which is quite philosophical, and it and I would like to get the show on the road, and you are the master, and please come ideas, and would like to know what the real meaning of new Zeitgeist, relevantizing, and many more. Okay, Prof, over to you.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin. Thank you, Dr. Mizan. I think with us still Tan Sri Professor Dato Nordin Kardi, and also Professor Dato Dr. Wan Sabri, Dr. Haslina. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to all of you and participants and listeners of this colloquium. I would like to share with all of you, what I've been asked to speak about this morning on knowledge and how do we relevantize knowledge. Dr. Mizan has just now said the topic is on knowledge in the new Zeitgeist, right? So if you study the development of knowledge, I think all of you have studied or have investigated or read the development of your field, be it in sociology, psychology, communication, or any other knowledge. You must have also read about the development of theories or school of thought in your discipline of knowledge. And you might have come across the word zeitgeist, zeitgeist or spirit of the time. So in the development of theory, in the development of knowledge, we have seen how scholars relate or relevantize their knowledge generation with their time, right? So how would their time influence the development of knowledge or development of principles or theory that they reported or that they shared with us in their literature. Right, so the term that philosophy book use, especially in my discipline, is zeitgeist, the spirit of the time. Right, so as a psychologist, we read how scholars in the field of psychology relate or were very much influenced by the time when they were operating. Okay, during the industrialization era, for example, how did the industrialization era influence the development of psychology knowledge during that time? And this is what we want to discuss today. How would our spirit of time now, especially this VUCA time, the COVID time, influence the development of knowledge? Would we generate, would we transfer, would we share knowledge which were coined or which were developed or generated in other zeitgeists? Are we imposing the knowledge which were acquired or developed in previous zeitgeist to the current zeitgeist? Right. So just now we were listening to many input on making our work impactful, making our research impactful. So how do we make our knowledge generation, our research work impactful to the current spirit of time or to the current zeitgeist in that sense? So I have a number of objectives to cover in this lecture to discuss the position of knowledge in our society. What is the role of knowledge? What is the role of knowledge worker? What is the role of knowledge center as well? All right. So discuss the characteristics of our new zeitgeist, which influences the direction of knowledge activities and also the orientation of knowledge activities. And also the most important thing is to highlight the roles of universities, USAS, IIUM, and many other universities in the current context or in the current zeitgeist. Okay, I'll be reading some of the texts here, which I have actually shared in a paper that I have submitted to the organizer. So this is only the summary, but again, I'm not going to read this summary. I'm again summarizing the summary that I have put on these slides. So I wish to say that higher learning institution, university, okay, is entrusted to transmit knowledge to the society so as to enable its informed development, its informed change, and it also informed improvement. Right, so the word used here is transmit knowledge to the society. Okay, what is the implication here? Now, we all come to university, okay, to seek knowledge, yep, one, but why do we seek knowledge? We seek knowledge so that we can become able agent of change in the society. We do not come to the university only to be credentialized with higher level of degree, so that with the level of job scheme in that sense, right? So I think the intention is right here that we come to university so that we are trained with knowledge, we are trained with skills, we are trained with the ability so that the abilities can be used when we go back to our society so that we can be fully functioning agent of change or of development or of society, right, that we operate or that we live in. So in realizing this role of CID, I call it, role of change, improvement, and development, the tasks, the duties, and responsibilities of academics as well as students in university involve knowledge-based activities. Knowledge-based activities. I mean, we know the 5 pieces of work, right? The 5 pieces of work are teaching and learning, and then the consultancy, the research, the innovation, and the publication. The 5 pieces of work, they have to be impactful, right? So we now learn, I mean, if you are a master student, whether you are in coursework mode or mixed mode or research mode, you are being equipped with the competencies to become researcher or to become scientists, and in some program to become practitioners as well. Whether you are a practitioner or a scientist alone, okay, you have to master, you have to have the competency of generating knowledge. Why? Because which were developed in other spirit of time or in other zeitgeists. It might not be relevant. Yeah, we have to always make sure that the knowledge that we share with our community, with our society, are relevant. If they are not relevant, then our role is to relevantize. How to relevantize? So we are going to look at the scopes. We are going to look at the area that we have to address whenever we are relevantizing knowledge. When we talk about knowledge, I think we know that we have to address the 4 scopes or the 4 notions, right? The scope of the approach of knowledge. How do we approach knowledge? That we learn in our research methodology classes that we approach knowledge by adopting empirical approach. But are we only adopting or employing empirical approach? What are the other sources of knowledge that we have to adopt, that we have to honor as well? That is one, right? So in order to relevantize knowledge, we have to know how do we approach knowledge. And what are the subject matter to be discussed? What are the subject? Yeah?
Dia kan hang bayangkanlah kita minta, dan kalau betul-betul nak.
Are you talking to me? Can I proceed? Dr. Mizan.
Sure, Prof.
Okay,
Okay,
all right. Well, where did I say? What did I say just now? I mean, the second notion in knowledge is the subject matter or the ontology of knowledge, right? When we adopt, multiple sources of knowledge, right? When we source knowledge from Quran, from Hadith, from empirical work, we are going to have rich subject matter, rich ontology of knowledge, which come together with truth as well, right? And the third notion is in the value of knowledge and the value that we uphold. Right? So what are the underlying value that we have to adhere to, that we have to abide by, that we have to uphold when we are working as knowledge worker? And the fourth one is the purpose of knowledge. Why do we generate knowledge? Why do we do research? Right? Is it only for paper qualification, or is it because we want to equip ourselves with competencies that will enable us to become good independent researcher, which can relate theory with context, which can relate practices or principles with context? So that is the purpose of knowledge. And I think we are hitting on this one. We are hitting on the importance of making our research impactful, making our knowledge activities of genuine impact to our community. Right? So this is something that we want to also talk about. This activity of working with knowledge or transmitting knowledge to the society require university to have sound strategies. We have to have sound strategies to strengthening or valorizing our academic professionals. Our academic professionals here refer to academics and also the academic managers, as well as substantiate our academic activities with community input. Right? Just now we also listened to the two Tan Sri Nordin and also Tan Sri Dzulkifli, who talk about the need to be inputted by, the need to be informed by the need of our society. We must not be imposing what we believe to be right in other places to be also right in our community. No. Okay, we have to also listen to our community and see what do they need, and then we offer solutions to them based on our findings when we work with them. So the former, which is to strengthen the university, to equip university community with enabling competencies to provide knowledge to the community. Now, when we talk about community here, we are not only talking about the community at large or the public community. We are also referring to the professional community. We are also referring to the learning community, the students who are with us, the students who are not yet with us, the learned community, the scholars who are in other institutions, for example, and the last one is the public community. So we have to be engaging them, or we have to engage them so that we are informed of what do they need. While the former here refer to the academic activities, require us to have serious effort to relevantize knowledge to the society. There is one verse in the Quran which I would like to discuss here in the context of relevant. So the word yughayyiru and yughayyiru here, all right, refer to change, right? So why do we look at this word change, right? Allah says in the Quran, indeed Allah will not change the condition of people until they themselves change. Important to us in our context now. Okay, we are undergoing changes here. We are living in increasingly changing community, right? The word change, okay, in our study in psychology, okay, refer to learning process or is associated with learning process, right? If you go to the definition of learning, learning require interaction. Learning involves change. Learning is defined as a relatively permanent change as a result of interaction. All right. So we have to interact in order to learn. What is the effect of learn? The effect of learn is change, right? So we have to be interacting to our own time. We have to be interacting to our own spirit of time. We have to link, we have to relate, we have to interact with whatever happening in our surrounding. And because of that interaction, we will change. If you look at the work of previous scholars, including in Islamic studies, right? So their view and even their fatwa would change depending on the context they are in, right? So this is something that we can address, that we can mention or state when we talk about relevantizing knowledge. We are going to relevantize knowledge after we do observation, after we relate to our environment. Okay, we are now working so hard to make sure that our students do not only know the approaches, they do not only know the subject matter, but they are also being guided by good values. They also know how to turn the knowledge into valuable practices. All right, so this is the focus now. Now, this warrants for strategic effort to enhance the need for genuinely impactful academic activities at universities. And they are responsible research. They are responsible publication and innovation, including amongst the work our postgraduate students. So our postgraduate students must not only be exposed to their competency to do research, submit thesis and then pass. No. Okay, we are now to research, be contributive of change, be contributive of innovation and development so that they could become the agents of change to the society, so that their community can also benefit from their pursuit of knowledge at higher level in that sense. So a university community, ranging from academics to students, is a community of knowledge workers. What do? They learn. Yeah, I said to you just now that when we talk about learn, we are talking about change. Huh? Learn only happens when an individual change from at least not knowing to knowing, right? So the academics and the students in university generate knowledge. They do research. When they do research, they have to generate knowledge. They are actually generating knowledge. And what do they do with the knowledge? They disseminate knowledge. And these have to be done in the context of the society. The knowledge should lie on strong fundamentals. And what are the fundamentals? How do we know the fundamentals? The fundamentals are informed in the university ethos. Where do we know? How do we know the university ethos? At least we can check our university ethos from the university mission, from the university education philosophy, from the university direction, so on and so forth. In a learning process, students should attain certain level of mastery on subject matters, which are covered in their courses. They have to understand, they have to also able to apply, they have to evaluate, they have to analyze and synthesize the knowledge. It is not only about knowing the subject matters or the sources of the subject matters, but also the internalization and the manifestation of knowledge. We are talking about relevantizing knowledge here. So in order to make the knowledge relevant, the person who deal with the subject matter must know the subject well, must internalize the value of the subject, and relate or manifest the knowledge, okay, in their practices. Stated another way, it is the underlying values of the knowledge and its end values or its valuable practices which have to be also acquired by the students. These are some of the essential notions to be looked at when we analyze the property of knowledge, at least from Islamic perspective. To continue, in integrating knowledge with Islamic perspective, this is something that we are focusing on. Okay? In integrating knowledge with Islamic perspective, a discipline of knowledge could be addressed. How? By linking it with the zoological, which is the value aspect, the epistemological, which is related to the approaches of knowledge, and also the subject matter or the ontological notion. Okay? Hence, lay some basic foundation to analyze and to explore certain domains of knowledge. By doing so, the link between the education philosophy adopted by a university can be strengthened, hence reducing disconnect between knowledge and the institutional ethos. Academics and students should be able to discuss the truth in knowledge by linking it to the sources which are available to them, instead of only relying on modern epistemology. The focus should lead to meaningful outcomes when addressing the teleological notions of knowledge, the purposes of knowledge. Emphasis on the aspects of ethics or akhlaq as well as purposes of knowledge should be enhanced. That said, academics and students should be made more able to relate knowledge with its use, hence contributive of the agenda to relevantize knowledge to the needs of people of certain time and operating in the current time and space, so that the knowledge that we deal with must be of benefit to people who are staying at the current time and current space as well. Knowledge should be continuously generated, must be continuously developed, because as time passes by, the concept of knowledge and the values has to be reapplied so that they are relevant and applicable to the changing situation. Now, holding on or anchoring on fundamentals, right, we can do something about making these fundamentals relevant, okay, or suitable to the current context or to the current time and current space. Zeitgeist and knowledge activities. In general, the term zeitgeist can be referred to as the spirit of a period of time or age, or the mood that influences the spirit of a generation. University philosophies of education, its direction and activities are set based on the spirit of the university. If you go to, in many countries, including in China, they talk about how their time influenced the development of their university. When we say building, but also the direction, the mission, or the philosophy of education adopted or employed by the university. And this is attribute value or belief which are influenced by the spirit of time when a university was established. A university ethos, as enshrined in its mission or education philosophy, is influenced by the zeitgeist linked to the university. It, in turn, influences the direction and orientation of its knowledge activities. In many universities, the knowledge discoveries and inventions that they champion have been driven by socio-cultural system. And socio-cultural system is an important aspect in any zeitgeist or in any spirit of time that the university was operating in. So all in all, what we want to tell you here is that when a university was established, the university was established, okay, in relation to the movement or in relation to the spirit, okay, that took place during that time. If you study the era of 1980s, for example, what happened in Malaysia then, and how did the spirit of that time, the reform time, for example, the Islamization time during that time, influenced the development of some university. Right? That was the zeitgeist that include when the school of thought or development of knowledge theory, something like that. What are the roles of university in the new zeitgeist? University, being a higher education institution, is entrusted to advance the competitiveness of the society and is expected to develop individuals in the society, among other things. Students to grow up, to learn life, hence be useful in their society. So here we are talking about three main functions of university. What are the roles of university? Like in any society, they are agent of change. They are agent of improvement, agent of development. Like in a society, we have hospital, we have school, we have universities, and this role to play. Now, what are our roles as university? Are our roles as university the same with the roles of a school? Right? Schools might be providing general education, but what are we providing? Are we also providing general education, or are we providing more? Right? A university is providing more than education actually, because UNESCO, for example, has outlined three is intellectual functions. Number two is education functions, and the third one is social function. Under intellectual function, we are talking about generating knowledge. We're talking about producing knowledge. We're talking about reproducing knowledge. We are talking about relevantizing knowledge. We're talking about having thinking people working to generate knowledge. We are talking about producing new thinkers to be working, dealing, generating, relevantizing knowledge, so that this knowledge can be applied, can be used, can evolve the society. That is the intellectual functions. The second one is the educational function. Okay, educational function here refer to the process to educate or edify or educate or develop citizen for a country. So this refers to the citizenry building, right? So we have to have people or citizen with good values. Okay, in a society, who has to play this function? Who has to play molding citizen with good values, with good akhlaq, with good citizenry attributes? That is university. This is why I said just now, our role is not only to deal with people who come to study from us, to learn from us, but our function is also to go out, outreach people who do not have the opportunity to come and study with us. Right? So we are using the word tarbiyah here. We are using the word edification here. It goes beyond educating. It is also edifying as well. Edifying them with good akhlaq, good values, good citizenry values. The third function is social function. So here we are talking about producing good workers for the society, right? So I think very much we have addressed this when we talk about the concept of employability. University are expected to produce people who can be employed after they graduate from our university. We are talking about employment here, all right? So this is only a social function. Only play one function. We have to play all of these functions, at least three functions: intellectual functions, the educational functions, and social functions. Be relevantized to the need and even the future time and future space. We are talking about sustainable development, right? So we are preparing our people to fare well in the current context and also prepare them to fare better in the future context. And how do we do that? How do we do that in Islamic studies and human sciences schools? Right, I think we have to now realize that okay, the effort to advance community development, to advance a society is not only by applying the STEM knowledge, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematical knowledge, but also the art and religion. We are talking about stream now, right? We have the arts and religion as well to play important role in advancing our society, in changing and developing, and also in improving our community and our society. So that is to make sure that we also make our Islamic study knowledge, we also have to make sure that our humanity principles and knowledge are applicable or can be applied to change society or to improve our society. It was reported that the link between religion and education was so close and clear. Now, this is what we have also read in the literature. It was reported that some institutional ethos change due to the change of values or religious denomination subscribed by the state, which own the institution. If you study some of the changes in European university, they change from one ethos or one mission to another ethos because of the change of denomination that their state subscribed. Okay? This proves direction of an institution with the spirit of the time. The increasingly challenging socio-economic environmental pattern have also led to the new zeitgeist. Here, we are referring to COVID-19 pandemic, and in effect, the movement control order that we are currently in, which has contributed, which it brought with it. It brings with it challenging pattern of life and work processes. It has also brings with it drastic emergence of many new norms and many new work behaviors. It has also brought with it altered social system and altered work conditions and many other positive consequences as well as negative consequences. Now that this COVID-19 has brought with it also many positive opportunities for us to learn and grow, right? So this is also an opportunity for us to relate knowledge with it. The new zeitgeist require university not but to educate and to engage others of all mankind. It requires us to into the challenges that lie ahead and stay true to the functions as academics and as students. It also requires academics and students to support their colleagues, to support their students for the challenges. Hence, avail for them opportunities to thrive and to grow. At institutional level, it is incumbent upon us to adjust the way work are performed, hence enable all to continue accomplishing our. This involves the effort to adopt new work practices when accomplishing tasks and responsibilities, such as adjusting the teaching approaches and learning styles, including to empower students to continue experiencing effective learning processes, to facilitate academics to maintain their research and publication, and to find alternative means to carry on with the engagement with the community via students and academic community-oriented activities. How do we link our establishment to the context? Like other education institutions, polytechnic, okay, community colleges, right? University have the roles to equip individuals with the abilities to protect self and to protect others from indulging in negative behaviors, and in turn preventing them from suffering their consequences. Right? So this goes back to the changes just now. We have to change, right? If we do not change ourselves, who are going to change ourselves? We ourselves have to change ourselves, that in collective manner. Okay, that action verb yughayyiru just now come in plural form. So we have to do it together. We have to do it collectively. This is so far conducted through teaching and learning activity consultancy on community engagement, and it should facilitate the application of knowledge to change the society, to improve them at individual and community level. So in linking university to the content of activities, the structure of university activities should be formulated. So we have to structure, okay, the